Hello, my name is Estefânia and I would like to present the results of the study Silvopastoralism as an Agroforestry System, Survey Analysis of Perceptions in the Agricultural Sector of Trás-os-Montes region, Portugal. Agroforestry refers to land use that combines trees or other perennial woody plants with agricultural and/or livestock production in the same area. Among agroforestry systems, silvopastoral systems, the combination of trees or other woody plants with animal production and/or pasture, are widely used in the Iberian Peninsula. In Trás-os-Montes, silvopastoralism has a long tradition, this being a region characterized by its mountainous landscape and microclimatic diversity. In the 20th century, with the modernization of agriculture and the rural exodus, the practice of silvopastoralism has declined. In recent years, there has been a renewed interest in silvopastoralism, especially in the mountainous areas and areas with more arid climate, that is, the regions with difficult soil and climate conditions for both agriculture and forestry production. This work, part of Silfor project, has the general objective of contributing to the promotion of silvopastoralism in the Trás-os-Montes region. Silvopastoralism is a part of agroforestry systems that integrates trees, crops, and livestock in the same area, promoting efficient resource management. These systems enhance biodiversity, carbon sequestration, soil and water quality, and offer multiple environmental goods and services. Silvopastoralism enables diversified production and reduces economic risks, especially in the mountainous and semi-arid areas. Despite its advantages, it faces structural challenges such as rural abandonment, social stigma around pastoralism, and lack of tailored public policies. Its revitalization is seen as a strategic for land management, wildfire prevention, and the valorization of rural territories. This descriptive research was based on the application in the northern region of Portugal of the interview survey Technical Barriers to the Implementation of Silvopastoralism, developed by the NICER team within the scope of the Silfor project. The work began with the translation of the questionnaire into Portuguese and its adaptation to the regional context. Initially, the survey was planned to be administered exclusively online, but given the lack of responses, it was necessary to conduct it in person. The survey includes 79 questions distributed in 9 sections. Subsequently, key actors were identified, potential elements/people to be researched, distributed in 4 groups. Group 1, Nature Conservation. Group 2, Producers and/or Agriculture Production Technicians. Group 3, Producers and/or Forestry Technicians. And Group 4, Others forest users and/or people/entities that carry out activities related to agroforestry systems. 60 surveys were carried out in order to obtain at least 15 elements from each group. The sample is classified as non-probabilistic for convenience. Data collection took place between February and June 2024 using the interview technique. Statistical software suitable for social science and data process was used to edit and process the data collected. The survey was anonymous. Furthermore, the interviewers were informed about the objectives of the research and the voluntary nature of their participation. The first 2 sections were about professional and/or supplementary activity. The vast majority of the interviewers, around 82%, are male, and only 18% are female. This result was expected, given the data from the 2019 agricultural census, which highlights that more than half of the individual producers in the region, around 64%, are male. The majority of respondents, around 52%, are between 35 and 54 years old, and were also producers or sector technicians. In relation to the sector of activity, the interviewers were equally distributed across the sectors. The first 2 sections were about professional and/or supplementary activity. The vast majority of the interviewers, around 82%. Now, in response to the question, under what circumstances would this practice be highly recommended and under what circumstances would it be inadvisable? The respondents generally consider the practice of silvopasture to be advisable in most scenarios presented, with the exceptions of the options planting of young forests, burned areas, and areas where wolves are present. Next, the respondents were asked to classify the livestock species in relation to their suitability for silvopastoralism, and the respondents identified cattle, sheep, and goat as the most appropriate. Then, the respondents were asked to compare the current practice of silvopasture with the past, 20 years ago, and to assess whether it had evolved positively or negatively for both animal and forest species. Among the animal species, only sheep were considered to have significantly evolved. However, goats received similar ratings, which may indicate that the level of development compared to the past has not changed substantially. For the forest species, only pine were considered to have regressed in the terms of development. Respondents were then asked to indicate the possible reasons behind the current state of silvopasture for each type of livestock. For cattle, the reasons were intensification of activity, change to more productive breeds, economic profitability, administration, and depopulation/population aging. For sheep were forestry management, economic profitability, territorial base, and administration. For horse, abandonment of livestock farming, economic profitability, and depopulation/population aging. For goats, forestry management, economic profitability, administration, and depopulation and population aging. For swine, intensification of activity, change to more productive breeds, economic profitability, administration, and population aging. And for poultry, abandonment of livestock farming, economic profitability, depopulation and population aging, and presence of predators. It is important to note that only response with a percentage of 40% or higher were taken into consideration, and it's clear that 3 reasons were cited across all or nearly all species, namely economic profitability, administration, and depopulation/population aging. In a separate section, a series of statements about silvopasture were presented, and the respondents were asked to indicate their level of agreement with each. Most of the statements were agreed upon, with the exceptions of it causes forest damage and it makes management difficult. Finally, the respondents were asked if they have difficulties in developing practical experience with silvopastoral systems. The majority responded yes, and those who did were then asked to identify the difficulties they encountered. The main difficulties reported were product sale prices, costs, administrative, and land properties. In conclusion, this research confirms the importance of silvopastoralism in northern Portugal, especially in Trás-os-Montes, where it has ecological, social, and cultural benefits. Despite this, the practice has declined due to agricultural intensification, rural depopulation, and aging populations. Revitalizing silvopastoralism requires integrated policies, technical support, and regional adaptations of measures like the Common Agricultural Policy. Supporting native livestock breeds and promoting sustainable rural development are the key to ensuring its future. Further research is needed to evaluate policy impacts, improve economic viability, and adapt practices to climate change. Thank you very much.